Hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk about HIV virus and AIDS, a disease caused by virus. As you know, this HIV virus, which is being a very prominent and life-threatening disease, originated from Africa. So I would just like to talk about how this HIV virus spreads, how the HIV virus is being caused. We are also going to look at how the HIV virus itself affects our body and how this HIV virus finally manifests and then show a symptom of AIDS. Right, to know about these, we have to know the abbreviations of HIV AIDS and the HIV virus and the AIDS. HIV virus stands for human immunodeficiency virus, and AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So human immunodeficiency virus finally causes the AIDS. So human immunodeficiency virus is the one that ultimately results the disease AIDS. So let's look at how the HIV virus is transmitted. The more often this HIV virus is being transmitted through sexual contact, and even there are even if there is without a sexual contact, the use of contaminated needles or the body transfusion of body fluid also results in the HIV transmissions to one person to another. So the risks of HIV transmissions comes through when we get contact to the mucous membranes or the blood streams. Any body fluid of an infected person is do contain the HIV virus. The HIV virus is found in the blood, semen, vaginal fluid, preseminal fluid, breast milk. The transmission of virus occurs through a sexual contact in the adult. However, even in the case of when there is even no without any sexual contact, can also cause for those people who often share the needle, like drug users who shares the needle. There is a chances that the sharing of the needle also result in the transmissions of HIV virus. HIV virus can also be transmitted through the mother to child through the blood during the pregnancy. As you know that the mother and baby is being connected by the placenta, through which the blood get transfused to mother to child, child to mother. So these movement results in the transmissions of HIV AIDS from mother to child. Even after the birth, baby is being fed by the mother's milk. The HIV virus also gets transmitted through the mother's milk. HIV and the immune system. How the HIV actually affects our immune system, or what is the mechanisms of or destructions of our immune system by the virus. HIV virus itself do not multiply and has got a minimum ability or the minimum capacity to destroy other cells. But what it does is HIV virus get attached to the T cell. When I say T cells, T helper cell. T helper cells then allows this HIV virus to multiply within itself. When HIV virus enter into the bloodstream, the protein coat on the virus allows it to fuse with the host T helper cell. So one of the very important things that you have to keep in mind is the HIV virus, when it enters to the bloodstreams, it gets attached to the T helper cell, and the HIV virus protein coating will help it to get fused with the T helper cells. Once the HIV virus gets attached to the T helper cells, its DNA materials is being injected into the T cell machineries, meaning in the nucleus. So the T helper cell then would be producing more of an viral DNA than its own DNA. So this is the trick of the virus, that once its DNA has been injected into the host T cell produce copies of DNA of a virus. The copies of the virus then butts up from the host, destroying the cells in the process. The copies of the virus goes infected to then continue to move to another T cells, and it will continue to infect the other T cells, T helper cells. During the first few weeks time, the HIV infections, it's much slower, because the immune system tries to fight against the virus. However, the virus inside the bloodstream continue to affect many more T cells, and each T cell produces many copies of RNA, DNA of a virus, and which continue to infect many other T helper cell. This is the reason that T helper cells, once hosted, they completely get destroyed. Now let us look at how these immune systems really do not understand the mechanisms of viral infections. Why our immune systems are not able to really control or produce virus-specific antibodies. There are two reasons. One, virus undergo frequently mutations, and that results in changing the antigens on its coat. So when the virus gets mutated, and this makes our immune systems difficult to read these kind of antigens. So antigen specific lymphocytes from our body cannot cannot read the virus. So antigen specific lymphocytes fails to recognize the virus, because every time it gets mutated, the protein coating on the surface is different every time. The other reason is virus also use the host's membranes to form its own coating. When it enters to the T cells, it uses the membrane of the host to coat its DNA. These cover up the viral antigens so that they cannot be detected by the host immune system, because our body immune cells would think that that is the self, and the self is recognized as self. The immune cell do not destroy. Thus, these are the two tricks used by the immune HIV virus to to prevent itself getting destroyed by the immune system. But ultimately these viruses will go on infecting all the T cells and destroying all the T helper cells. As a result, our immune system really get weakened. Let's look at what happens with this graph. This graph tells very neatly how the T helper cells and the bacteria fight each other. The red line indicates the virus, and the blue line indicates our body immune cells, or the T cells, T helper cell. So initially T helper cells has got a high capacity to respond to foreign body, and there were a large number of T cells in the beginning, whereas the bacteria, the very few numbers of a virus that can enter into, few HIV virus just get into the body, and it continues to attack. It cannot attack, it continues to multiply, and meantime our body immune cells will continue to fight against, and there is a certain point where even the HIV virus comes down in its number, and our immune cells can still control. There is a certain period, and therefore we don't feel HIV patients do not show a sign and symptom in the beginning. So nearing to 1 year, then after 12 months, a year later probably, there is a severe sign and symptoms begins to appear, because the number of virus is more than the number of T helper cell. The number of T helper cells will decline, ultimately it becomes almost zero, whereas the virus keeps on multiplying, and then it shoots up until the person is dead. So HIV patient shows signs of infections of HIV almost after several years. T helper cells continue to decline in the blood. The number of T helper cells really declines, and that is one of the indicators to detect whether the person is HIV positive or negative. Well, copies of virus goes on increasing. The number of T helper cell declines. The ability of immune cells becomes to respond. These HIV infected person shows a sign and symptom of a failing immune system. They are not able to respond to HIV virus. Treatment with the antiviral medications can slow down. However, these medications does not guarantee the recovery, although they do not eliminate the virus altogether, but medication helps to lengthen between the infections of HIV and the development of the symptoms. So what happens is, just because you are adding antiviral your medication, so that results in actually to fight against the virus which are multiplying, and that will actually to control the number of virus in the blood. However, currently there is no cure for HIV infections and the AIDS, no vaccine to prevent the infections, although there is this is the field of intense study by biomedical scientists. So what is the cause of death of the AIDS patients? AIDS actually itself is not so killer, because what you saw is the number of virus keeps on multiplying, and then it destroys all the T helper cell. So what happens is, person still survives, But what happens is his immune system has weakened so much that it really results in the very vulnerable to infection by other diseases. HIV/AIDS is diagnosed when the T helper cell falls to a very, very low, and the infected person develop one or more opportunistic disease. This is what I actually told you in the beginning. The AIDS is diagnosed as because of the decline in the T helper cells, and person doesn't die because of the declining number of T cells, but dies because of the infection by the other diseases. So opportunistic disease are infections, tumors that are rare within the healthy immune system, but common immunodeficiency people. Opportunistic disease includes pneumocystis, pneumonia, Kaposi's, sarcoma, a type of cancers. These diseases are called opportunistic disease because they take an advantage of the opportunity to the persons with an damaged immune system that can fight back. So opportunistic disease are often direct cause of death of people. So ultimately people die because of some opportunistic disease. So 8 patients dies because of the opportunistic disease, besides the decline of number of the T helper cells. Of course, once the immune system fails, anything can be so dangerous. Anything can be dangerous. Even it is believed that the flu virus can also be a killer, because immune system is totally is not able to defend the body. Fight against those germs. As a result, such opportunistic disease can cause death of 8 patients. All right, facts about the AIDS. AIDS was first identified in 1981, and since then it has almost killed 25 million people worldwide, and many of them are children. The hardest hit regions is in the sub-Saharan Africa regions. Of course, there is an antiviral medications which is prolonged, but however there is no concrete medicines or the medicines available for this virus. With this, I would like to close this topic, but let me ask you, what's the difference between the cancer due to virus and the AIDS? Please think of what is the cancer caused by the virus. What is the difference between the cancer caused by the virus and the AIDS caused by the HIV virus? Please try to refer to some of the books and try to find out those answers. I would like to talk more on the cancer in the next video. Thank you.